Hey there guys, how's it going? Happy Halloween! Assuming this gets uploaded on time. Half of you won't even watch it on Halloween, but it's the thought that counts, and the thought is that I fucked up and I gotta make up for it, because for all of October, I haven't made any horror related videos really. There's the Sinister 2 review, which should have been uploaded way before then, and I guess it worked out that it came on October, but whatever. And yeah, there was 2 weeks for sure where I never could have because I was busy working. It's just life gets in the way sometimes, but still, there's no excuse. I should have uploaded something. And so before we start this video, I want to just let you know I'm going to be finishing my Halloween film series review. I'm kind of restarting, and so it's a weird thing all over, because I wanted to go Halloween 1 to the Rob Zombie remakes, and then I got to a certain point. I started with my friend Patrick way back in the day. Then I eventually just went from 6, H20 and Resurrection on my own, and I'm kind of restarting 1 to 5 on my own, and then I'll do the Rob Zombie ones. It's weird continuity issues, but who cares? I just gotta get it done. And I also gotta finish my Leprechaun one, and I was ready. I filmed my Leprechaun in the Hood one and Leprechaun in Space, like back when I filmed the first 3, but then I had problems with the review for Leprechaun Space, and I wanted to refilm it, and I never got around to doing it. So yeah, but this video I want to do something special. I was trying to think, what exactly is it? And this will essentially be my favorite horror films, or films I like to watch around Halloween, but it's essentially horror films. There's one that kind of sticks out as not really horror. You'll get what I mean when you see it. But first, let's talk about some honorable mentions. But even before that, it's not even an honorable mention. It's not one of my favorites. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure though. Have you seen Grizzly Park? This movie it's a lot of things to a lot of people. To me, it's worth dropping on the floor. But essentially, and I've seen this like many years ago. My mom bought it because she's like, ooh, a creepy horror movie. It was like in a pack of 8 different horror movies. And I was like, that could be fucked up. A bear? It's like Jaws with a bear. And no, it did not turn out to be that. But we all enjoyed it as sort of a sometimes intentional, sometimes unintentional comedy. It's kind of a very broad comedy. Very low budget, low rent, not very well put together, but at the same time it's okay. It's funny, it's enjoyable, it's a guilty pleasure. You could watch and think it's just a terrible, crappy, not scary horror movie, or really bad, unintentional, sometimes intentional comedy. I enjoy it, but it's a guilty pleasure. I can barely recommend you watch it. And anyway, yeah, and also, just to mention, if I forget something, please comment, like, hey Dylan, what are your thoughts on this horror movie that you left off? Because there's some that I don't own yet. Like, first off, I gotta mention 2 that are in my list of favorite horror movies. The Omen and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't own them, but I respect them both. The original Texas Chainsaw scared the shit out of me. First off, it's a guy that wants to chop you up with a chainsaw in Texas, no less, make you into some kind of meat shop, butchered meat process probably, put a lot of salt on you. And then he's gonna wear your face when he chops up other people. That's fucked up and sick. And not to mention a lot of the other stuff. The dinner table scene with Grandpa, the first time seeing that, I was shell-shocked and a little bit terrified, a little bit scared, but at the same time it's kind of darkly comedic. And also you watch the second one, very much comedic. The third is utter shit, but number 4 I want to talk about. The remake also I'd like to mention. The remake wasn't that bad, and the reboot to the remake is god-awful in every way, never watch it. And I'll talk about the other one, but yeah, we're talking about all the Texas Chainsaw movies. What's it called? Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation stars Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. You might not have known that. I've known that for a couple years now, and let me tell you something. That movie is shit, but it is utterly watchable for Matthew McConaughey alone. He is ridiculous. He is over the top. He is so much fun to watch in that movie. He's got a robotic leg. So he's got a robot leg. And also, at one point, I think he's chasing Renee Zellweger, and he's like on the roof, and she's trying to get away in a truck or something, and he goes like, "Meh," and jumps on her truck. Meh. Like, oh my god, it is the most ridiculous shit ever. It is so funny though. It's amazing. And even in the movie, he's going, alright, alright, alright. Like, it's just perfect in some ways. And what was I talking about? Oh yeah, also Texas Chainsaw 3D, because it's now just Texas Chainsaw unless you have the 3D Blu-ray or whatever. That movie is shit. Utter shit in so many ways. It's hard to describe, But really, I gotta go off on a mini rant here, or I should just review it. I'll go on a mini rant. Essentially, they want to pay homage to the original by making this a follow-up sequel, but their continuity is so terrible and awful that a movie that should be taking place in the 90s, essentially, they still got like 2012 cell phones. People don't act like they're in the 90s or whatever. A character, Alexandria Daddario, I think is the main girl. She was on True Detective. Yeah, if this movie had any continuity, she would be like a 40-year-old woman, but no, she's a hot 20-year-old. And yeah, Leatherface is her fucking cousin, and he murders all her friends, and then she just like, no, I'll be with you because the other people in the town are pretty terrible. Go get them, cuz. Fucking, oh, I could go through that whole movie. I think I might, actually. There's a lot about this terrible. A chase scene where it seems like she finds every object to trip on and then some, like, oh my god, a leaf, and falls, and she tries to get away from him by going on a Ferris wheel. Like, are you kidding me? It's bad. It's bad. And what else is an honorable mention? I got a little sidetracked there, but another honorable mention, Sinister. I don't own it yet. It's on Netflix, so if you want to watch it, check it out. I recommend it. Ethan Hawke in a great little horror movie. In Sinister 2, my review, I kind of talk about things I like about Sinister 1. I might eventually review it, who knows? One of my cats is trying to push in through my window. The cat uprising is happening. Hopefully, don't make too much noise, kitty. Anyway, we should start this because otherwise it's going to take all night. Alright, first up, a few honorable mentions because I enjoy them. Not necessarily in my favorites, but I enjoy them quite a bit. The Conjuring, a recent one, they did a really good job in it. Does it owe a lot to other horror movies of the same type genre? Yeah, but it's still pretty cool and creepy at times. The Clap Game, come on. The Exorcist. It's The Exorcist. But the problem with the movie that I'll admit it, I wanted more Reagan. And there isn't much Reagan in the movie. Like, honestly, if you watch the movie, like, I went in, I saw it when I was like 11 or 12 or 10, something like that, and it freaked the shit out of me. But going back to it, I was expecting a bunch of, your mother sucks cocks in hell. And what else does she say? Fuck me, and she's stabbing herself. Like, oh my god, that movie is disturbed, really. In the Reagan scenes, it is darkly comedic, it is creepy, terrifying, and awesome. But there's like 80 other, not even 80, there's like 90% of another movie in there. Like, the Reagan stuff is about maybe 10-15% of the actual movie, and I was so shell-shocked rewatching it, like, what is all this other stuff? Because I just wanted to see Reagan going nuts, and there wasn't enough of it, and I was a little turned off. But come on, it's still a classic, and I know I'm going to go back and watch again, like, okay, there's not as much Reagan as I thought. It's still fucking awesome. From Dusk Till Dawn, a really badass, awesome vampire movie. Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez. It's just badass and awesome. And also vampire movies, Fright Night. The remake not as much, but the original Fright Night, like, I like the remake, but the original is badass and awesome. Dinner is in the oven. Ooh, ooh, or whatever he does. Evil Ed, he's fucking awesome. I love the original Fright Night. And you know what sucks? Is I saw it, fell in love with it, and you can't fucking get it anywhere. On Amazon right now, if you want to get the Blu-ray, you can pony up about $700, something like that. And I don't think the DVD is much easier to get either, so someone should get on that and make a new Fright Night Blu-ray, a mass release, so I can pay like $15, not $700. Next up, alright, try and guess what it is. What? No. Listen, I'm talking to a plastic plant. Honorable mention because it's not scary, like at all. Bushes aren't scary, but it's hilarious. And listen, a horror comedy, definitely this. It's just not intentional, but it's Halloween. You want to laugh a little? Watch that. And actually, there's one more I forgot to grab. I really should have thought of this one too. I actually lied. It was two. But they're both Nicolas Cage movies. They put me in the horror mood a little. Well, they're horror genre. Air quotes. First off, we got the Wicker Man. Oh, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah! Ah, they're mice! Mice! That's probably the worst impression of that ever. But, oh, what's in the bag? A shark or something? Ha 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 ha. You know? And also, we got Vampire Sketch. I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, what were they thinking? Anyway, yeah, moving on from terrible Nicolas Cage impressions. Leprechaun. The first three are decent in a bad enough way where it's like, listen, they're terrible, but they're still fun. And then 4 is just terrible and not even enjoyable. Then Leprechaun went to the hood twice, got a little too serious actually, but still fun-ish. And then there's the remake, which I can't wait to review that. The reboot of Leprechaun. I'm gonna enjoy that review, trust me. And finally, You're Next. A good home invasion slasher movie. It pretty standard stuff, and then they do put it on its head, but nothing in it. There's the twist where the movie kind of changes and becomes something else, and it's not really much we haven't seen before. It's still awesome and fun. As far as this list goes, there's like a top 2 that are for sure like my favorites, and aside from that, it's just a mishmash list that has no real ranking. So here we go. Cabin in the Woods, a modern horror classic, actually takes the genre, turns it on its head, because it takes what's essentially an Evil Dead movie and then does a lot of crazy shit with it, and it's, oh my god, is it entertaining. Oculus, a very entertaining, interesting concept, really fucking creepy at times, great psychological horror. The Babadook, great, interesting concept, again, great psychological horror, fantastic movie. Essie Davis, my god, she was so good in it. And The Babadook is fucking creepy, man. Another new, I would consider Babadook a horror classic already. It's one of the new classics. Oculus is in contention, it could be considered it. And It Follows seems like another one that'll eventually become a modern classic. Another interesting concept. It really, a great horror movie should make you afraid of something. And yeah, It Follows makes you afraid to have sex. And that's pretty effective for a movie to be like, don't do it. We'll scare you that much. And it was an interesting concept. The way they pulled it off was pretty awesome. They did a great job, actually, a really great job. The Thing, a really great John Carpenter movie. Probably my favorite John Carpenter movie, I think. This one or Halloween. Sometimes it's flip-flops. Also, I like to put They Live in there. Chew bubblegum and kick ass. But The Thing, I'm going to say this a lot, an interesting, great interesting concept. And really, the practical effects in this movie are badass. And it's a great suspense as far as you're in an isolated area and any one of these people could fucking turn into a crazy monster and eat your ass. And also Kurt Russell, and he has a man's man beard in this movie. Wow, he's got the power beard. Anyway, next up, another winterish movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night. This movie's not good. It at times struggles to be entertaining, but it's still a lot of fun at times with his naughty and chopping up, cuts a fucking snowman's head off with an axe. Come on. Not to mention the sequel, Garbage Day. I can't do the eyebrow thing, it's impossible. Only Eric Freeman can do that, but the sequel, the thing about Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, it's really fun comedy, but it also sums up the first movie. Half the movie is the first movie in flashbacks. It's like you don't even need to watch the first one. But the second isn't on Blu-ray, so I'm kind of shit out of luck. Next up we got the 3 Evil Dead movies. So first off, start off with my cool steelbook of the original Evil Dead. Low budget horror, they did a great job for the money they had and created a real memorable, iconic franchise. Also Bruce Campbell, the man, the myth, the legend, Bruce Campbell. The sequel, scary. The first one was really scary, second one's scary but a lot more comedic, and then that's kind of why I don't have Army of Darkness in here, because it's a comedy, it's not even horror. And then we have the actual horror one, Evil Dead. No laughs, just dark, gritty, grim, gory horror. Yeah, just a fucked up movie. The box cutter scene alone, Jesus, I love it though. Next up, the original Alien. I know I got all 4, but the original is the one I'm talking about. Isolated in space, you got Ripley there, but she can't save you maybe from a chest burster, you know, a thing wraps on you, and puts a little seed in your belly, and then eventually boop, boop. Like, come on, a phallic looking thing busts out of your chest. That's terrifying enough. Not to mention the phallic thing when it grows up and it's running around impaling you. I'm never going to space, I don't care. And also the video game. If you have a PS4, Xbox One, whatever the game's for, play the video game. It is terrifying. And then also, this is the one I was talking about. Not necessarily horror, but it puts me in a real Halloween mood. Paranorman. I enjoy the hell out of it. It's a cool concept. It's a very mature, animated children family film. Very mature, very fun. It definitely loves the horror genre. And yeah, it's just a great fun time. Next up, the 2, well technically 3 Insidious movies. I only own the first 2 because I don't want to spend $25 on the third. But the third's in there for sure. I like all 3. Interesting concept. Does it owe a lot to Poltergeist and movies like that? Yeah, but it does some cool things with a somewhat familiar premise. And the Insidious movies are very effective. I watched the first one down here, and then it's like late at night, it's 1 in the morning. It's like, I gotta go get water. And I don't fucking want to. I'm slowly creeping and I'm going up the stairs and my door is like right at the top of the stairs. There's a door to go outside and it's got a window and so it's all black from the night. You can't see nothing. And that scares the shit out of me. I can't even look at it. And then there's windows all over my kitchen. It's like, fuck. Every time I look out a window, I'm waiting in anticipation for that fucking ghost-headed veil lady to slowly, like, get closer to the window or suddenly pop up like, ah! Like, I'm fucking terrified of that, actually. That's a real fear I have. From, like, washing my hands or something in the sink or cleaning out a cup. And then I look back up at the window, it's like they're gonna be there. That scares me. That terrifies me, actually. It's true. That's the sad truth. And then I just run back downstairs and hide under my blanket. I hide under my fucking bed. My bed's on the floor. I can't hide under it, but I try just because that way they can't fucking get me. Next up, Scream. One of the classics of horror comedy and slasher. Wes Craven did a fantastic job with this movie. One of the first postmodern horror movies. He also did Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which worth mentioning, even though I forget if New Nightmare came out before Scream, but Scream did it way better and was a much better movie. And there's a TV show of that, actually. I might have to watch it. But I love the Scream movies. The first one specifically, though. The first one's fantastic. Next up, we got Carrie, the original. Yes, I own the remake, but if one's much more of a favorite of mine, yes, I love Chloe Grace Moretz, but she is too pretty to play Carrie, to be honest. But I own the movie out of respect for her. I don't know. But this one, Sissy Spacek actually sells me on her being this weird little fucking freaky kid Carrie that just everyone picks on and hates because she's that weird little kid. Not weird, she's a fucking teenager. She's in prom, she's fucking 18. That weird little kid that's 18. But yeah, telekinetic badass, fucking goes real psycho and starts setting people on fire and all that. It's fucking awesome. And Brian De Palma's directing, masterful. That's what it definitely, over the remake, yeah, Carrie's a little bit dated, and we got John Travolta in there. Hey, and why is he talking like fucking Fonzie? Hey, I'm John Travolta. But the direction has so much over the remake. Next up, one of the ultimate slasher icons, and if it's Halloween, you gotta watch at least one of the movies. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger. What a badass character too. It's a great idea of this guy that most of them, it's like, listen, it's scary. A guy's gonna chop you up. And if you watch the movie, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now. But with Freddy, it's like, you're scared and then you're laying in bed like, I don't want to go to bed because that's where Freddy lives. If I go to bed, he's gonna get me. So really, especially if you're a little kid. But yeah, Freddy, terrifying, great concept of in the dreams, he can do whatever. And with the sequels, as they kept progressing, they had a lot of great ideas for inventive, cool deaths, but eventually it went a little off the rails. Because in the first one, he's very scary. Second one, got very gay. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. And the first time I watched it, I was like 10, 11, and I didn't get it. And then I watched it more recently, I'm like, oh yeah, this movie's gay. It's very gay. But by the third one, so he's scary, but at a certain point in the movie, he becomes very jokey, and it's like, oh, so now he's a comedian. And then Freddy became a fucking national icon, but as a comedian. Like, he wasn't scary anymore. He was just the funny guy, and that went really bad. By the time we're in number 6, he's doing Looney Tunes, like, Bed of Spikes jokes and the Nintendo Power Glove. Like, what the fuck happened? Everything cool about Freddy is dead, basically. But he was still fucking... Go watch the original. Is it dated? Yeah. Is the acting terrible? Yeah. But Freddy's still a badass in that movie. Next up, my all-time favorite slasher of all time, which... That's redundant, but yeah, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. And if I had to pick one, you know, number 4, you got little Corey Feldman there. Hey, Jason! Why is he talking like fucking Jersey Shore? I don't know how to do a Corey Feldman, because I don't know how he did it. Try being an 11-year-old, be like, hey, I'm trying to sound like a man, but I'm 11. Bleh. Like, that, I guess that's sort of how he talked. Maybe? I don't know. But when he's chopping him up, die, die. Yeah, sure. That movie is very good. It's comedic, but still creepy. You got Crispin Glover dancing. It's got everything. And then you go to number 6. Very funny and comedic. That's probably my favorite is number 6. But also number 7. Jason's fighting a fucking telekinetic. It happened. Number 8. He punches a dude's head off and goes to New York. Fuck. There's toxic waste in the sewers. Next up, my name's Patrick Bateman. I don't use alcohol, because alcohol dries out my skin. It makes me look older. Hey, Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it. Do you like Hugh Lewis in the news? Hey, Paul! It's just infinitely quotable. I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane? American Psycho. Fucking Christian the Batman Bale as Patrick Bateman. Patrick Batman. A little bit of a coincidence there. Yeah, great dark comedy. Puts me in the horror mood just because it's him fucking... He's naked running down his hallway with a chainsaw to chop up a hooker. I love that movie so much. It says so much about my life because I see a little bit of myself in Patrick Bateman. I do. But something I'd like to just mention, someone make a meme of this if you will, but in American Psycho we have Christian Bale who played Batman in The Dark Knight in a scene with Jared Leto who plays the Joker in Suicide Squad. And then he chops him in the back of the head with an axe. So someone go out there and make a meme where, like, when he's pointing at the 8-track player or whatever, just making a picture of Heath Ledger, like, this was my Joker. He was badass and awesome. He was funny yet creepy and terrifying to make the ultimate Joker. And then he, like, grabs an axe and he's like, that's why he's a classic. Your guy's just some techno weird punk in purple leather jackets. And then show him chop up Jared Leto. Like, come on, you could make a meme of that. Next up, another horror comedy, not necessarily dark, but blatant comedy. Specifically, Shaun of the Dead, because that's the horror one. I have all three in a nice white Blu-ray case. Just fucking cool looking. But yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Hilarious on every level. It is fantastic. It's probably my favorite zombie movie ever. Also, I'd like to mention 28 Days Later is great. It's fantastic, but I actually don't own it on Blu-ray. Sorry. But Shaun of the Dead, fucking awesome in every way. It's so... Edgar Wright's movies are so intricately layered with just little things that if you pick up plot points and funny little Easter eggs you pick up after each viewing. You watch it 50 times, you'll catch something new every time. Next up, Steven Spielberg produced, Tobe Hooper directed Poltergeist. I already talked about it. Influenced Insidious a lot. And it's very much a Spielberg movie. I know Tobe Hooper directed it. Sure you did. I know Spielberg was behind you the whole time with his hand on your shoulder like, E.T. I did Jaws. Like, that pretty much happened, I'm sure. Exactly that. I'm sure there's video of it somewhere. Google it, I'm sure. They're here. Like, that line alone is just one of my favorite lines in a movie, actually, ever. And also remember, Poltergeist is a PG movie, and we get a scene where a guy peels off his face in the sink. The effects don't hold up completely, but still, a guy peels his fucking face off, and they're like, parents can take their kids, it's fine. A guy peels his face off a piece at a time. Fucking love the 80s. Next up, An American Werewolf in London, the greatest werewolf movie of all time. I stand by it. Suck it, Benicio del Toro. Your Wolfman remake was balls. Wolfman's Nards balls. That makes no sense. Monster Squad. I wish I saw that movie. I can't mention it because I haven't seen it. I should get on that. I know the line, Wolfman's got nards. That's about it. But yeah, and also I'd like to mention the original The Wolfman with Lon Chaney, I believe. It's very dated. It's still a classic for a reason. Check it out. It's a badass movie. But American Werewolf in London, that's a badass movie for real. That's one that scares you, puts hair on your fucking chest watching it. Yeah, you watch it, it makes you more of a man. Really, it's pretty... It's freaky, a little bit terrifying, very funny because it's darkly comedic at times. I mean, when his best friend comes back and he looks like just a rotted up, chewed up piece of bologna. Like, hey dude, how's it going? See this rotted shit? You did this. Whatever. Like, that's awesome. And then when he turns into a werewolf, that is the best werewolf transformation you will ever see on film, possibly ever. I challenge someone to do better. I want to make a werewolf movie to try and do better because it'd be a challenge because this movie did it so well. Really, every bit of his transformation hurts and you feel that pain. You feel every little thing. His bones are cracking and dislocating and breaking because he has to transform. His face is fucking stretching to that wolf face. He's growing hair, which probably wouldn't hurt, but his fucking teeth are doing all their shit. Like, his bones, his muscles are tearing. Every little bit of it is extreme pain, and you feel it. It is amazing. And when he's a werewolf and he's fucking eating people, that's pretty fun too. Goes into a porno theater, bites some guy's ham. Next up, Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, but I'm more talking about number 1. Because number 1 is the return of the monster movie. It had been gone for a long time, essentially. More or less, you know what I mean? And then it's the first, like, creature feature. Like, we got a big monster. Like, you got Frankenstein and all those dudes. Well, we got the creeper now. And he's like a 1,000-year-old demon from hell with wings that likes to eat people. Like, he'll fucking cut your head. He'll fly onto your cop car, pull your head out, chop it off with an axe, take your head. It looks like he's making out, but it turns out he's fucking pulling your tongue out. He's gonna eat your tongue because he wants it, because he wants a better tongue. Like, the Creeper is an amazing, amazing movie monster. He is iconic to me. Jeepers Creepers is iconic. The fucking truck is like Steven Spielberg's Duel. He's pulling up on your ass. He's gonna run you off the fucking road, and then shit gets only worse. The Creeper is terrifying. Is the climax a little bit maybe not as good as the build-up? Like, the first hour of the movie was so strong with the truck, and yeah, as I said, fucking eating the, and then the ending, the third act was a little weak as compared to the first two acts, but the first two acts were very fucking strong. Next up, have you seen The Lambs, Clarice? I fucked up the line, but yeah, Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, just a badass character. Really, a lot of these are just like, this character is a badass, he's awesome, he's fucking terrifying. I know, I'm getting a little repetitive and redundant. Sorry. But yeah, Silence of the Lambs, really. It was the Oscar winner that year for like best writing, directing, acting, actress, and picture, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that's true. It was like the main 5 things. It's like, damn, the movie's clearly awesome, and it is. It's terrifying, a little bit darkly comedic with Megs throwing cum in her face. But yeah, we got amazing performances. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins both. But Anthony Hopkins, Hannibal the Cannibal, is like seriously one of the best movie villains ever. Like, he can fucking talk you into swallowing your own tongue. And also we got Buffalo Bill in there, another great cinema villain. It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the lotion in the basket. It puts the fucking lotion in the basket. Like, he's fucking scary. I don't want to be in that guy's pit. He's like, put the lotion on. Fuck, okay, I'll rub the lotion on the skin. It rubs the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again. I know my Buffalo Bill voice is weak. I'm sorry. Next up, Halloween. First off, do you like this? I think this is pretty badass. But yeah, Halloween. And specifically, like, if we go down, as far as favorites go, the original, obviously. It's in so many people's favorites of horror movies. It's a classic for a reason. Michael Myers, is he the original slasher? You could also say Norman Bates. And then also Billy from Black Christmas. But like, when you think slasher, Michael Myers is kind of the OG one. And he's badass awesome because he's got a William Shatner mask and he makes it scary. And no words, just listen. I gotta stab you. Okay, I'll stab you into the wall, admire it, and then move on. Like, really. And then the second one, well, I'm gonna do reviews of them, but I will say the third one, lately, my thoughts on it have changed a bit. It's becoming a little bit more of a, like, listen, it's Halloween. It's not very good, but just watch it as a sort of, it puts you in a Halloween mood, even though it's not a very good movie, personally. And also, Halloween 6, there's a producer's cut of that out now. I've heard about this infamous producer's cut, and now it's out on Blu-ray. I have to get that and watch it, and maybe review that. Next up, we got 2 Alfred Hitchcock horror films. First up, The Birds. It is very dated at times, because sometimes it's fairly obvious, like, this is not very convincing. It was a 1960s movie. Was it the 60s or the 50s? No, it was the 60s. Sometimes it's not convincing, but sometimes it's utterly terrifying. Seriously, when they're on the, like, school, the playground or whatever, and you see in the background more birds just keep showing up. Fuck. And there's some points where when the birds are attacking, it is actually pretty scary. But some of the logic in the movie makes no sense. Like, alright, we're inside and the birds are all out there. Let's get outside and run. Like, we're safe inside, more or less. They're not bothering us yet. But then they choose to go outside and run away, and then they get attacked. It's like, that's your fault. You should have known better. But still, The Birds is a classic. A little bit dated, but a classic. And then we got Psycho. Fucking Psycho. That is seriously, like, I'm thinking, is that in my top 5? I would say so. I love Psycho a lot. Masterfully directed by Alfred Hitchcock. You got Janet Leigh as probably the ultimate Hitchcock blonde, maybe. I would put her in like the top 2. She was fantastic. And I think we all know the twist, right? We do. If we don't, I'm going to spoil it for you, but come on, you know the Psycho twist. But Anthony Perkins is actually Mother. The shower scene, there's so much about that movie. I wouldn't even swat that fly. The shower scene is amazing. It's probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous scene from a horror movie ever, the shower scene. And the twist, the reveal, there's so much, again, I gotta say, masterfully directed by Hitchcock. He did so great. And this, It's funny that the movie like became so successful, but early on, like critics were kind of like, it's not very good, and everyone was against making the movie. Like, you can't show a toilet. Like, there's so many fucking things about the movie where it's like, we can't do that. Like, really, it's the first time in a movie you saw a toilet or a toilet being flushed. It's like, really? That was a big deal. Next up, these are my top 2 favorite horror movies. This one, the one I'm going to show first, number 2 favorite of all time. Probably the most effective horror movie of all time. I've kind of been revealing what it is because it's been a big spoiler, but Jaws, Steven Spielberg classic. I know it's a summer blockbuster, but seriously, that movie scared me out of the water. I'll never go in the ocean for sure, but even like swimming in lakes and stuff, if I'm swimming in a lake or a pool, I don't want to open my eyes. I'll just be like this and fucking who cares? Because if I open them, I'm afraid I'll open it and then see just barely blurry out there lurking in the water is Jaws. And it's like, I don't want that. One of my biggest fears is jumping into water and Jaws jumps out and eats me as I'm in the air. It's like, fuck, that movie terrified me of Jaws. I'm scared of sharks, I'm scared of the water. Masterfully done, Spielberg. Most effective horror movie ever. But as far as my favorite, the most well-made, masterfully done horror movie ever, The Shining, Stanley Kubrick. His direction alone makes the movie great. Not to mention we got Jack Nicholson's amazing, darling, light of my life. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'll bash them right the fuck in. Really, fucking terrifying. Here's Johnny. He's so great in it. He is great. Is he just kind of being like, honestly, he's just basically, I'm Jack Nicholson and I'm gonna be crazy and who cares? It'll be over the top and fun. And it works in the movie so well. He is so great. Shelley Duvall really puts you on edge because of her fucking teeth. I'm sorry. And also Danny Lloyd. He's really good as a kid actor. And one of my favorite scenes, when he's on the trike, first off, the direction alone, like, I just gotta say, Kubrick's direction, everything is perfectly framed, perfectly shot, perfectly set up. Best directed Kubrick movie ever, in my opinion. But when he's on the trike and it's a long tracking shot and the areas keep changing, and then there's the twins, and then you see there's the quick cut where they're all chopped up, and then little Danny's like for like half a second. That's really funny. And I know it's based on the book, and the Stephen King book, which I've read, is great. It is great. The movie's great too. They work as separate entities. The movie is so unfaithful to the book, it's crazy, but it worked on its own so well that people are like, the movie's better than the book, but don't tell Stephen King. Shh. But it's kind of true, because you got Jack Nicholson in there. Jack Nicholson. Like, really, even the part where Dick Halloran's coming in and Jack's just like behind something, he's like, oh, and chops him in the chest. Like, that's fucked up. And then he slowly comes up. And like that. He's terrifying. I'm scared. If I see Jack Nicholson with a fucking axe like, little pigs, let me come in. Like, I'm gonna fucking shit my pants and run away. He is scary. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. He's so scary. He's fucking creepy, but at the same time, he's so darkly comedic. So yeah, there we go. Those are my favorite horror movies of all time. Is Jaws and The Shining. No, Jaws was number 2, Shining's number 1, and that was kind of... There's that, and the rest of the list in no particular order. So I hope you guys like the video. If you've got comments or thoughts, opinions, whatever, just comment it below. Go down below, type it in. I don't care what it's about. Like, if you're like, Dylan, I think you left off something important and you have a horror movie that's like, what do you think about this? Did you even see it? Did you forget about it? You mook. You mook. You fucking mook. It's Joe Pesci. I probably did forget something pretty fucking awesome. That, like, I basically just went to my shelf, grabbed them all, and put them down. So yeah, there's probably something I don't own that I forgot about. Like I mentioned, the Omen and Texas Chainsaw Massacre ones I don't own yet that had to be mentioned. So if there's something, comment below, tell me what your favorite horror movies of all time are. Please, hope you guys have a happy Halloween and all that. Eat a lot of candy, but not too much. And watch some fucked up, terrifying horror movies or comedies. Watch The Wicker Man. What's in the bag? A shark or something? So yeah, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.